So minor update, maybe more significant than minor, I don't know. I've gotten a few things in and gotten a lot of work done. Sorry I don't record it, but it's just kind of a pain in the butt to be recording your work and doing the work and moving around a ladder and whatnot and trying to not bump over the tripod. So, sorry. Anyways, here's the interesting things that I've gotten done and am doing soon. Oh, and that was with my camera microphone, which I didn't realize I didn't have my other microphone plugged in. But it's plugged in now, so there it is. I guess the first thing that I'll go over is the packs. Oh yeah. So here's our water system. If I want to, in the future, I can add a filter up here somewhere. And then down here is going to be a pressure tank. And then the water heater is going to sit in this closet, which is behind the tub. At the house we have now that we're trying to sell, it takes 36 seconds for the water to reach our shower. Here, I'm imagining it'll be hot before you turn the valve on. Ha ha ha. Here's that water line coming up. And that guy. This is all 3/4. And then this is a Vega mana block. There you go. And the cool thing about this is I have home runs to every single line here. I need to label that. That's toilet. And the whole point about this is I don't have any T-fittings or couplers or unions or anything hidden in the wall or floors or attic. Not that there's anything in the attic here, but there's nothing hidden to leak. Even this is a continuous pipe all the way out to the outside to daylight. So this can run without any sort of elbows or unions through walls and up out to, like, here's where I'm going to put the shower valve. There's the vanity pipes. There's the water closet, you know. Okay, sorry, I lied. There are some that are going to be hidden. Like, here's the washer supply, you know, clothes washer. These are going to be hidden, but there's, like, not much I can do about that. I could add a little access panel to monitor it, but that's, I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. And then here's the kitchen plumbing. One for the fridge, ice maker, and then this is under sink. And I'm just going to have a tee off here outside the wall to go to the dishwasher instead of having to run another line. Even though I do have the spot for it. Yeah, I have one spot left. What else? Floor electric. So we're going to have a heated floor in the bathroom. KC wave. And the way that is, you have to have 2 pipes or 2 conduits running down to the floor level. And that's how I secured those. Those are just some elbows cut off and glued in place. And you have to have one for the temperature wire, which is low voltage, and one for the high voltage, which is the power wire. And by code, it just has to be in 2 separate lines. You can't have high voltage and low voltage in the same line. And I needed something that was a single Rayco box or whatever, you know, junction box for the thermostat. But I needed 3 ports with 2 of them coming out the bottom. And this, I just drilled a hole in the side of it and added grommet. I forget what those are actually called. Yeah. Plumbing system. We have vents. These are air admittance valves, which are okay for our code here. And that allows you to get by without having a separate vent pipe running up from there over to the pipe in that, you know, that pipe over there that goes through the roof. So this is the one pipe that goes through the roof. And this is a good segue into what else I've been doing is baffles. Because I've decided to just do the installation myself. I got one quote for like $11,000. Stupid. For blow-in cellulose and fiberglass, you know, dense pack in the walls and then the floor. And I can do that for $2,000 myself. And actually I had another contractor come in and quote $2,000 for all of it, but I don't trust him. So I'm going to do it myself and do it diligently. And what these baffles are, let me back up so you can see there. There's a gap, and there's a gap held with foam blocks. And that's a 2 foot by 4 foot piece of foam, so I could get 4 pieces of foam out of one sheet. And they're just hot glued in place, and the hot glue works pretty well. And what I'm working on now, since I have all of the wiring done, is first diagramming all of the wire. And then spray foaming the perimeter. Because you put your hand up there and you can feel cold air just blowing in through all those cracks because it's not perfect. So I'm going to spray foam that myself with one of those froth pack kits, which is Dow. There's also other things like Tiger Foam and whatever. Segue onto something else. I have all of the vents run. The 2 that are plugged with foam go outside. And they go over the wall here, and the soffit's right there, and there's a vent in the soffit. So it's like a stealth installation almost. You can barely tell that there's anything there. And the ventilation system only needs 4-inch pipe. And then the other 2 are inside supply and exhaust. And the supply has one to the bedroom here. And this is conveniently located along the same point as this wall. So if we ever want to wall off this to make another bedroom for maybe a kid or something. Sorry. All right, I'm back. These are for ventilation, which is different from heating. These are just fresh air. ASHRAE 62.2, I believe it is, requires 50 CFM per 1,000 square feet, and this is 1,000 square feet, so, or something like that. And that gets done with a heat exchanger. This is that Panasonic heat exchanger that I was talking about. There you go. Serial number 1704. Fantastic. And this is the heat exchanger core. So it has opposing flow instead of a cross flow, which is more efficient. And it actually transfers moisture, a significant amount. So in the winter, we're not going to have air leaks. The building's going to stay, well, it's not going to get, it's not going to leak in cold, dry air from outside. It's going to have fresh air supplied by this. And the fresh air that's going to be coming in that was dry will absorb moisture from the exhaust. So our humidity level in here is going to be comfortable. And that'll be a large part of it feeling comfortable even at a, well, we could have it at a lower temperature and have the same comfort level. Well, also a lower temperature because there's not going to be drafts or leaks or cold spots. it's all just going to be cozy warm, like you're sleeping in a bed with 2 comforters on. And this has dampers on the outside side, so when it's not on, it shuts those, so you don't get air leaks. It has independently controlled blowers, so you can balance your airflow. It has various settings here, so you can adjust how often it runs and how fast it runs. It's got a filter so you're not clogging up this with dog hair and whatnot. And then this is your outside air, which is an M8 particulate filter. And that'll take care of all of your pollen and whatnot from outside. Overall, very happy with this unit. I mean, the construction looks very high-end with all sorts of foam, and it just looks nice compared to other similarly priced units. The only disadvantage with this is it doesn't have a remote controller. I mean, you can hook it into your furnace so it runs when the furnace is on, but you can't like boost it from the bathroom. And I don't really know how well that's gonna, or if that's gonna affect our use case. Okay, going back to the supply lines. We have the one to the bedroom, and then another one here, which is on the right, and that dumps out right here, which is directly above our Minisplit wall unit. So this is where our heat and cooling is going to come from. I'll get back to that in a minute. And then we also have exhaust. And we're in the bathroom here. And I have one exhaust port there. And then a second exhaust in the living room kitchen area, which is right there. All right. So there's our front windows. And the kitchen will be over there. Now, people would think, well, obviously, I'm going to have my exhaust in the kitchen. I could even use that as a range hood. No, you will clog that thing up with all sorts of food matter, grease, whatnot. Do not do that. You want your exhaust far away from the kitchen. This is fresh air. This is not an exhaust for cooking smells. For that, I'm going to install a oversized blower. And that guy will go over here. Not too oversized. You might have to open a window if it's on high. And I'm not planning on installing any supply air, just to keep it simple. So on low, it'll effectively depressurize the house. Maybe not ideal, but it's simple. Oh, yeah. Coming back to the Minisplit here. This is that unit I was talking about earlier. And this will do 12,000 BTUs of heating at like -5 degrees. I'll put up the cell sheet on the screen right here. And it's only a 3/4 ton unit. 3/4 ton means 9,000 BTUs per hour of cooling. But in heating mode, you don't have to exhaust the heat from the compressor. So any of the heat the compressor generates goes into your house. So it's not wasted, and you're not trying to cool the additional heat of the compressor. So this is a 12,000 BTU heating unit. And remember, we only need a maximum of 8,000 BTUs in the winter, in the dead of winter at -5 degrees for heating, which is the design temperature here. There are moments where it will get lower than that overnight, like -10, -15, we've seen a few times. But the house will coast through that overnight. And that's not the only heater that we have. Like I said, we're going to have the bathroom floor heat. I don't know how many BTUs that's going to be. That's not considered a heater. And then here in the bedroom, I'm going to have a very small electric baseboard heater. And this will heat up the bedroom in those mornings when you just want it to be warm and you're feeling cold. And the heat from the other part of the house isn't getting here. So this is going to be like a short-term heater, not long-term. So I'm going to leave this set at like 5 degrees below the set point of the mini split. So if this room, for whatever reason, if it's not staying warm enough, it's not getting enough heat bleed through from the bathroom and the other walls, or if the doors are shut, then this room won't get really cold. It'll have plenty of heat right there. Trying to think if there's anything else that's interesting or noteworthy. Oh, this is interesting and noteworthy. I've been tracking my injuries. Some of these are kind of petty. Sawdust in the eye. I should wear safety glasses more. But sometimes I'll be like running wire. Actually, running wire should require safety glasses. You could poke your eye out. But I'll be running wire and then I'll get some sawdust that'll fall off the ceiling or whatever into my eye. 2 of them that my wife had to pick out. And a third one that was actually stuck to my eyeball. And she had to use tweezers to get out. But I'm all good. That was yesterday. There's no problems. Zapped twice. Once I was rewiring one of the electrical switches over there. I had to run a new wire because the old one wasn't short enough because there was stuff in the way. I don't remember. Oh, I had to add the second box up there for the ERV switch, which is the heat exchanger, that guy. And I forgot to switch off that while I was reattaching the temporary lights. You know, temporary light like that. And then the other time I was tightening something in the panel and my pinky touched the block coming into the panel from the meter. I've detected my thumb once. That's when you smack it with a hammer and you hit your thumb. Thumb detector. Splinters. Holy crap ton. And I got all those splinters from when I was doing all of the caulking jobs. You know, just use my finger running along. I tried using the spreaders, but they just didn't work. My elbow hurts a little bit. That's because I nearly fell off the ladder. I was, you know, that ladder. I was up doing the baffles. And I had the ladder close to the wall. And I was reaching up and I had to go reach to the back of the panel to like scoot it forward or something. And when I reached back, I was pulling against the framing and my feet pushed the ladder out. And I was holding onto the framing because I knew it was going to happen. I could feel it happening. And I must have just tweaked my elbow when the ladder fell out. And I just, you know, I let it fall. And I was still hanging, and then I let myself fall down without, you know, like twisting my ankle on the ladder or anything. But my elbow hurts a little bit. Screws rammed into my head. I got 2. One, I was over here. I had some blocks, and I installed, oh wait, no, this is from that manifold. I had the screws sticking out here, and I was working on these here, and I jammed my forehead into it, and that hurt. So I cut those off. Right there. It's okay. And then the second one, I was over here doing something with the baffle, or No, I was running a second wire there for a floodlight outside, and there was one of the screws from the ceiling poking through, and that got me. So I stuck a foam block on it, and that stopped me from hitting my head on it again. Last injury, the pecs smacked my lip. Focus. Why aren't you focusing? I can't give you more contrast. Must have lost reference somehow. And we're back. When I was cutting the pecs for that manifold, I snipped it, and then it smacked me in the lip. And that was right here. Why aren't you focusing? There we are. And that was right here. Can you see, Mark? Right there? Yeah. Oh. It's all good. Say those are all kind of minor injuries. Some avoidable. In general, I try to be very careful when I'm working, but you just spend months working in a construction site and you get some injuries. Cuts. Zero cuts. I've learned my lesson working with wood chisels. You keep your finger away from the blade, so I don't have any cuts. So that's all I have for this update. Remember to hit that subscribe button so you miss my future videos. Hit that thumbs up button if you liked it, and leave a comment if you have something to say. Thanks. I also have my Dexter plastic up, and this is when you're spray foaming, you should like put plastic over your windows so you don't get any foam on your windows or screens or whatever. Because, I spent thousands of dollars on these windows, so you shouldn't mess them up. Did I mention Dexter? This reminds me of Dexter. Yes, it does.